Alright, so what do you guys know about NXIVM? Anything? Because I was thinking, like, for most cult stuff, people just... Oh, let me change this. To NXIVM. More like NXIVM. Okay. Cult research. It's called a sex cult, but is it really? Or is that just... Yeah, they branded people. Watch a Lifetime. Okay, so here's my problem with NXIVM is that, I think, in my opinion, it's way overhyped, and it's not really, like, everyone tries to make Keith Raniere look like this excellent, charismatic, super manipulative guy, but he's actually not very good at being a cult leader, and it's actually not that interesting of a cult. But there's a lot of information on it. There was The Vow, which was the documentary where the guy who was in the cult, he was like a documentarian, so he like recorded all the conversations. They had like modules that were all like on video. So my idea with the cult research isn't like, ooh, this cult did this goofy thing. I'm more interested in like how and why people joined the cults, like the process by which they joined a cult, you know, from not being a cult to being a cult, like how did that happen? And for me, it couldn't possibly be Keith Raniere because he is not a very good cult leader. So, and I guess I can get into more like why he's not really a great cult leader and why it's not really that great of a cult. But for the purposes of this, yes, there were like Hollywood actors, like Smallville actors and stuff like that. Yes, Smallville girl. And I actually think that she was a better cult leader than he was, because the cult didn't really get interesting until she joined it. Like, it lasted for, like, 90s, probably, like, late 90s to, like, mid-2000s. And it didn't get interesting until, like, the last few years when she joined. So I have a feeling that probably, if anyone was a cult leader, it'd be her, and Nancy Salzman was probably, like, the main one before her. And then Keith... Kind of. Kind of. But first, like, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because I'm more interested in, maybe that will become clear in time. Maybe she was just, like, a victim, and he did all the work, but, he's, like, lazy and not creative and not ambitious. So how could it possibly be that he could do all these things? I'm skeptical, so that's why I'm doing this research, because I want to see, like, what actually happened, because I do not believe that Keith Raniere is a good cult leader. I just don't believe it. Something else has to be the answer. Something else. But I don't know that much about, like, what actually happened besides the vow. There was a girl who was on YouTube with her sister, and one sister joined the cult and got married and then doesn't talk to her fam anymore. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't remember anyone getting married like that, where it was a big deal. So so Keith Raniere, before NXIVM, a bunch of losers with low self-esteem. Cults are very easy to get mixed up. And the thing with, like, NXIVM, it got famous because of the branding, but even branding isn't that original in cults, so I think the only reason it got, like, publicity is because it had, like, a few famous people in it, and That Lifetime movie you saw, Giano, that was the mother of one of the daughters who married like some royalty or something, and she was like a Hollywood star. So I think they kind of pushed it into the news. And in the Vow, there was like it was around the Me Too movement, so it was like sexual stuff going on, and it was the Me Too movement. So it kind of got like the right zeitgeist to be put in the public eye. But other than that, like even the newspapers are kind of like, this isn't that interesting of a cult, and they like would not publish anything until like the Me Too movement started. Is my understanding from watching The Vow. And okay, so this is why I call him like a D- cult leader, is because even with the branding and stuff like that, they didn't know they were going to be branded. They were like told that they would get a tattoo, or they weren't told anything at all. So they would just go there, and they were basically surprised to it and pressured into it at the moment. So to me, that's not very impressive as far as like master manipulators go, because you look at cults like Heaven's Gate, or Applewhite, like he got people so jazzed about being celibate that they volunteered to be castrated, and then he had to be like, that's a little much, and don't do that. So to me, like that's a pretty good cult. If people are volunteering to get mutilated, and it's their own idea, like I feel like that's a cult. One where you like trick people and they don't really want it, I feel like you're not very good at it if that's the case. Like they should be it's like they should be enthusiastic. Yes, now that's a cult. Right? One person actually cut off their balls for the cult. It was their idea, and then they did it. I think I have my own theory about why people join cults, which I'll get into it, and it'll be proven true or false the more like I research, because I want to do like a bunch of cults and see like, okay, how did it happen, to see if there are like any patterns to like why. But I have a working theory on why NXIVM appealed to people, and I don't know if they did a lot of drugs, or that like wasn't part of their main cult, and even like the sexual stuff wasn't even the main part of the cult. So that's why I'm like, it's not really, it's like a self-help cult that some people were basically not tricked, but I would say coerced, not so much manipulated. Yeah, it's more of a Tony Robbins kind of thing than like Children of God kind of thing. So how it started out was Keith Raniere did like a couple of MLMs selling stuff. He's not charismatic. Oh yeah, Tony Robbins is charismatic. Keith Raniere is not. Like everyone who first met him was like, this guy's like creepy and weird, but they were so primed that he was like some awesome genius that they like had to suppress that feeling, because they're like, oh, he's a spam. Okay, maybe we could all start first. Not evil cult. Cults are like more annoying than they're I feel like it's not worth it. So he started a couple of MLMs. They didn't last more than a couple of years before they got busted, which I think he's like not even good at that. So what actually made NXIVM was Nancy Salzman. So I don't know if you're familiar with her at all. I don't know if how much she was in that Lifetime movie. They probably didn't feature her much at all, but she's the one that did like all of the work, because Keith Raniere is like lazy, and he doesn't really do much. So she was like a nurse. I think they said she was a psychiatric nurse, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's something she said and then she lied about it. I don't know. I would have to look into that part more of what she did exactly. She was trained in neuro-linguistic programming, which is kind of like not, I I don't want to say accredited, but not like, it's a little hokey, let's say that. So he fails at the MLMs, and like he's a huge failure. He's like blacklisted because everyone just knows he's a con artist and wants nothing to do with him. So I think in her mind, she liked therapy. She liked helping people. But as a nurse, right, you're a healthcare worker. You kind of have like an ethical cap on how much you can make. So she probably figured it's around the 90s, right? There's probably like a uptick in self-help stuff like Tony Robbins, right? There's people are getting like really rich off the self-help movement, and she probably sees that, and she's probably like, well, I can help people and make a ton of money at the same time. Like, what's the problem? And then she meets Keith Raniere. I'm not really sure how they met and how they decided to team up. One thing I heard was that she was giving therapy to his girlfriend at the time. And then she told her about him, and she's like, oh yeah, that's a sociopath. And then they met, and then she says that Nancy was like brainwashed by him like right away. And then I heard another story where it's like he actively tried to reach out to her before that to get her involved in something, like to do something together, because he liked neuro-linguistic programming. But then she like turned him down or like didn't pay attention to him until she did. I don't know how it happened, but my theory is that she just saw dollar signs, and she knew he was a con artist and how to do it. So she's like, oh, I could team up with this guy. He knows like how to get a business going, stuff like that. So that's what I'm kind of guessing happened. They weren't from Buffalo. I think they were in Albany. But they had like locations all over the place. They had one in like Canada, like Vancouver. They started one like Mexico. A bunch of other places. So I think she had more of a background in therapy, and it started with the executive success program. So they appealed more to like, I don't know, Jana, you have these, right, like managers, you have like these team building stuff and like things you have to do to like get credits for management, or like, I don't know, just like manager stuff, like you have to attend stuff like that. Is that right? I don't know, she's probably working, but like I think that's how they started it, with executive success program. So they probably are like, hey, rich people, rich managers who have money to like throw away, here's some really expensive seminars on how to be a better manager or leader or whatever, and that's how they got like their start. Okay, yeah. And then from that they started building more like modules and stuff like that. And then they get more into like self-help stuff for the like average person, I guess. But they still like jacked up the prices because that's what it's about. So they have like, you could have like a 3-day seminar, a 5 or 7 day seminar, a 13-day seminar or whatever. They were like thousands of dollars. And then so they had the courses, and they say it started out like the first day you went there. I don't know. Okay, so I was hoping that they would have like the modules somewhere, like the videos that they showed people, but I guess the government took it all, and now it's all they're like hiding it for some reason. I guess they are worried that people will just do another cult or something. I don't know why they're hiding it. But basically people said they got there the first day, and they like Nancy was on the TV screen, and she would say stuff like, people usually leave after the first day because they see themselves for who they are and they can't handle it, and that's why they leave. And then that's when they did the priming. Like, this is designed by Keith Raniere. He's a scientist and a philosopher, and he's one of the top 3 problem solvers in the world. He has one of the highest IQs to ever exist. So they did like a lot of this priming. Like, this module material is from this guy. He's going to change the world because he's so smart and so good and so ethical. But I don't know, like, obviously that's manipulative to say, like, oh, if you leave, it's because you can't handle seeing yourself for who you are. Obviously that's manipulative, but did it really work on people? Like, how many people actually sat there and was like, oh, I have to stay now because if I leave, all these other people will think I'm afraid of myself? I don't know if that was actually effective. I can't imagine, like, anyone would care that much. Probably more like a sunken cost thing, I'm guessing. Like, you spend thousands of dollars on these courses. Of course, you're just going to do, I guess, because, well, if you go there because you're like you want to work on yourself, but, like, you don't know anyone else there, like, would you really care what a bunch of random people thought of you? And if you went, like, with people you know and, like, your friends, you'd probably think, oh, they're not going to think less of me if I, like, leave. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe it was effective. Maybe if we could ask people, hey, did you stay because they said this? That'd be good to know. But I don't know. I feel like it's more like probably a sunken cost thing where it's like, okay, I spent thousands of dollars on this stupid thing. I'm just going to see where it goes. And then everyone says, like, oh, the third day was when you really have your breakthrough. So I don't know if that was just something people said to, like, get them to the third day, but I don't know if they already, like, took their money anyways. I don't know. But that's how, like, people get started. And then they, like, kind of had an MLM model where you have the color sashes. So, like, martial arts and Girl Scouts, like, you get the badges, or you go up in the belt colors. So it was like an MLM like that, because if you could recruit a bunch of people, you get higher up in your ranks. And the same thing with, like, DOS. DOS was the sex cult part of it, where it was the secret society for women. And they recruited, it basically was the same way. Like, you have to recruit people to get higher ranking. It's like an MLM. So I am looking at their materials. It was a cult MLM, and MLMs are kind of like cults. It's like it all bleeds together. So I don't have the modules to look at because that'd be really helpful to see, like, what they saw. Just be like, okay, maybe that's why people got into it, but the government took that away from us. So what I did find was their website, and they did a patent on rational inquiry. So that's, like, what they call the theory behind NXIVM, I guess, rational inquiry. And they said it was, like, patented under artificial intelligence because it was just so smart. It's like it was basically a robot or something. I don't know. But I have that document where they probably all the modules were based off of. So this is their website. And if you see it, people already tried to do, like, public records requests, but the government keeps saying no, and I don't know why. Because to me, it's, like, not impressive stuff. Like, I think we're okay. I think we're okay now. I think we're safe, but I don't know. I don't know why they decided that. I don't know if it's like that for, like, every cult or what, but this is their website. Very low effort, as they have, like, what's that thing? It's like embossed. No, it wasn't. It's not AI. It's like you look at it, it's like a flow chart, and it's like doesn't make sense. So it's not AI. It's not actual AI. Who knows if that's even true? Yeah, it's like that. Not in Boss. What is it? I don't know. It just doesn't look very good, and it's like it looks like old Roman, like it's Roman numeral looking, right? So they want to like sound super intellectual because I guess ancient Rome times were just like super intellectual. So that's what they're like priming people. It's like this super impressive ancient whatever civilization. Even though according to them, every civilization sucks. And then they have like this mandala here, which is like Eastern. So it's like very Western and then like some Eastern kind of symbols in there. Bevel? Okay. And then they have this like, yeah, it's like paper looking background. So it's supposed to look like a book kind of. But as you can tell, it's like really hard to, it's like really skinny, light font on this embossed background. So it's not very easy to read. And they like made a lot of money. So I don't know why they wouldn't invest in like a graphic designer. I don't know. So this is their website. What is NXIVM? And it starts with a quote from Keith Raniere, greatest genius the world has ever known. Humans can be noble. The question is, will we put forth what is necessary? And I feel like this kind of sums up the appeal of NXIVM. So my understanding is that the whole idea behind NXIVM is that people are bad. Problems exist because people are bad. And if people were just gooder, then we wouldn't have problems anymore. And I think the people who are attracted to NXIVM, and maybe in cults in general, just hate people. I think that's like the main ingredient to joining a cult is you hate people, or you hate human nature, or both. And that's my theory. Is all cults are misanthropic at their core, and that's why people join them, because they hate their own natural judgment. They think things are bad because people are bad. And if we just stop being people, then things will get better. If aliens come, aliens are better than people, so aliens will save us. People suck, so society will collapse. So let's just wait out in the desert and wait for people to kill each other. So I think that's like that's my working theory at the moment. Maybe there'll be a cult that doesn't hate people that I'll come across, and then I'll have to change my theory. But as far as I can tell, they hate people, but they still want to fit in a group. It's weird how it works, you know? So bear with me. This is their writing. Human evolution has clearly demonstrated tendencies that vacillate between awe-inspiring rises and cataclysmic falls. As time has passed, our capacity to excel in either extreme has increased, even on the smallest of levels. Each rise, each act of human excellence, raises mankind to new heights. Each fall, each act of destruction is a mindless regression. While many have sensed a need to break away from the primitive patterning that keeps us from a path of continuous progression, few have thought it possible. So here you go. Problems exist because people are bad. We could do good, but we're not good. Each fall... Okay, I don't want to get too much of like, this doesn't make sense. It's not true, because obviously cults are kooky, and we don't need to get into like why they're like dumb and don't make sense. But if you're someone who like is willing to buy into the idea that like society can go on a linear progression and we can always get better and better, and people in the past were just stupid and not moral, so that's why things were bad in the past, because they sucked. But we don't suck. We're better than them. and we can like carry on and correct society. But here's the thing. So evolution, right? There is no real progression to evolution, right? It's you adapt to your surroundings. So is it the case that people regressed, or did they just adapt to different circumstances? And there is no such thing as like a linear progression to society. Is the society right or wrong just depending on the conditions that it's in? So, but if you think that people are bad and stupid, then you'll think like, no, people aren't adapting to their conditions. They're not just as smart and moral as me. They're worse than me, and that's why things were bad. Not the other way around. But, so I think if you hate people, then this will sound really good to you. Like, yes, everyone needs to be gooder, like me. And then the world will be a better place, and no bad things will ever happen again, because it's all people's fault. Anything bad that's ever happened is because people were bad. So NXIVM is a turning point, a remarkable development in scientific and psychodynamic understanding, education, and technology. So they're coming up with things that no one's ever thought of before, right? No one's ever thought of these things before. And we finally found the key that will make people gooder. It can facilitate this transition so the pattern of humanity's rises and falls can actually be broken and transformed. We find ourselves on this earth with the resources, intellect, and creativity that can generate abundance for everyone, or destroy all that we have created. So here they're upping the ante, right? So it's not like, there are ebbs and flows of good and bad, like good times, bad times. And not only are there bad times, but we can destroy everything. Because we're bad boys and girls, we just have that power just to destroy everything. And there are people who will do it because we're bad. NXIVM represents the change humanity needs in order to alter the course of history. Yeah, so finally found the answer that will solve everything. That's us. NXIVM is a new ethical understanding. They like the word, you gotta throw in the word ethical a lot, right? Because if you just say straight out, like, people are bad and stupid and I'm good and better than them, then you're gonna sound like an asshole. But if you say, like, ethics a lot, then you're not an asshole. You're, like, intellectual and you want good for other people. So you want to throw in those words in there a lot. So you kind of cover up the fact that you actually hate people and think that they ruin everything for you. So NXIVM is a new ethical understanding that allows us to build an internal civilization and have it manifest in the external world. So your little society here is going to be the perfect model for everyone else, and you're going to be part of it. You're going to be the first people to be in this excellent civilization that the rest of the world will just pick up, and you'll be in the history books as like the first people to actually get it right ever. Everyone else was just dumb but you. It allows us to explore our most fundamental nature and begin to redirect our power of creation. So our fundamental nature is bad and wrong, and we need to transcend it, right? Because people are bad. Power that we all possess in a very human sense. We're just bad at it. It is a place where humanity can rise to its noble possibility. See, we haven't gotten to it yet. Don't know why. We just never thought of it until these people came along. Who knew, right? You could just do that. So the NXIVM technology, they like the word technology a lot because, again, technology is smart. And it's not actually, when they say the word technology, they don't actually mean like computers technology. I don't even know what they mean. They just like techniques. They mean techniques, but they call it technology. I don't know why, because it sounds smarter. That's why. Okay, so the NXIVM technology is imparted through Executive Success Programs Incorporated, programs that provide the philosophical and practical foundation necessary to acquire and build the skills for success. Boy. All right. So that's what is NXIVM. Did I answer for you what NXIVM is? Boy, howdy. Wow. So they're building the perfect society that no one ever thought to do before. Congratulations. So going on to the mission. So the mission of NXIVM is to help transform and ultimately be an expression of the noble civilization of humans. We all have the potential to live and work together, but this potential is often cut short by opposing interests and beliefs. Wouldn't you know it? So I guess the way to reach this potential is to not oppose each other's interests and beliefs. So what does that sound like? This ongoing struggle greatly limits our ability to experience ourselves in the world. Although it appears this struggle has thrived for as long as humanity has existed, it does not mean that it must continue to do so. As the late René Dubos wrote, wherever human beings are concerned, trend is not destiny. And here's what drives me nuts about these like cults, especially ones that are like, we're doing new things that no one's ever thought of, is that they always quote like these dead people who say the same things. So like, and they like were alive hundreds or thousands of years ago. So it's like, okay, so these people who are alive hundreds or thousands of years ago are saying the exact same things that you are saying now, and they didn't change the world the way you're saying that you can change it. So I don't know why repeating them would suddenly help it, but okay. NXIVM embodies a set of consistent and universal principles in which all humans can participate. These principles, apart from any mystical or religious notions, allow for life to persist and uphold a diversity of beliefs. So here they're saying like anyone can do it. So I mean that widens your market. If you're looking for a lot of money, you don't want to say like it's only for some people, right? You want to say it's for everyone. By creating a new understanding, we can actualize our potential to live and work together and consequently bring human existence to a whole new level. So they're creating a new understanding based on the late René. Okay. Yet this cannot be done without first raising human awareness, fostering an ethical humanitarianism, and celebrating what it truly means to be human, because no one has ever done it, right? And this is our mission, right? So we're more human and ethical and humanitarian than anyone who's ever exists. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's vague because it's like so super smart that we can't. It's just, you need help. You need help with understanding this because the world just can't possibly understand these concepts. So the NXIVM vision. So what is NXIVM? There was a mission, and now there's the vision. The NXIVM vision, creating a rational, ethical world, because that doesn't exist. Facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. John Adams, who's been dead for hundreds of years. Okay. Yeah, and he was right. Look at that. It's true. And it's funny that we've known that for like forever, and yet the world isn't perfect, but we're going to get it right this time. So our primary desire is to help create a data-based, rational, and ethical world. It's very simple because, I mean, this is saying that the world is not data-based or rational or ethical. So there's that misanthropy that's snuck in there, right? Can't really see it unless you squint, right? It's basically saying we're all like dumbasses and irrational and immoral. So it's very simple. Factual data exists all around us. It is there for us to gather, and we can do so by merely observing reality. Never thought to do that. The less factual data with which we sustain our opinions, the more likely we may to become invested in them. The more invested we are, the more our disputes on differences of opinions are likely to escalate. So disagreement soon begets conflict, and conflict soon begets war. So if you're someone hearing this, you're probably not thinking, oh yeah, I'm irrational and I'm immoral, right? You're probably thinking everyone else is irrational and immoral, and that's why things are bad. So here, they're telling you, and you believe these things, that yes, people around you they don't care about facts. They're not invested in being ethical. They just want to disagree and they're stupid. And then we can fix these people, right? We can do that. So you don't believe these things about yourself. You believe these things about everyone else. That's who I think this appeals to. Because if you really thought people were like stupid, would you talk in this like, you would just say it simple, right? You would say it easy for people to understand. You wouldn't be so vague. You wouldn't throw in a bunch of like buzzwords everywhere. You'd make it like easy for people to get. But you're not appealing to the average person. You're appealing to the person who has a lot of money and who hates people, and who wants to be like smarter than everyone and gooder. So this is perfectly tailored to them. So I think that's the people who would look at this and be like, yes, this sounds awesome. This makes total sense. If we acknowledge that there exists a consistent, testable reality outside of our personal opinion, we may find a common understanding and knowledge. We believe it should be, we have like medicine, like all these different, bridges, things that really rely on these things. I think there's enough proof that we've done these, but clearly problems still exist, so we are not doing it right? If we did everything right, then problems wouldn't exist. So we believe it should be possible for people of all faiths, Christian, atheists, Jews, Hindus, and Muslims, etc., to live and work together. Because that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in the real world. But they know how to do that. So humankind should be able to coexist on this planet in a harmonious fashion. Therefore, we believe the ultimate human morality cannot be based on mysticism. As long as human morality does not have a common denominator, we will probably continue to fight the same wars that have been fighting since the beginning of time. And again, I don't want to get into like all the reasons why this is wrong, because that's not really the point. Of course, cults are stupid and wrong. But to think that like to buy into this, you have to believe like human morality, people don't share values across religions or cultures, and that's why people fight, because there's no common denominator. So I don't know what you would have to experience to not see that, people generally have the same kind of ideas about like. So there were these researchers, Peterson and Siegelman, who there's a DSM for mental disorders. They did like one where it's like, okay, yeah, we know people are messed up, but maybe we should have something that like catalogs and diagnoses people's like positive things, like what they're good at. And so they like took like texts, cultural, religious, whatever. They took like all the documents from these different cultures from all over the world, all throughout time. And they found like, I forget how many. I think there was like 20 universal values, like courage and wisdom and humanity and love and kindness. Like everyone all over the world, all throughout time, just kind of agrees that these are good things. So if you're someone who doesn't think we have a common denominator, we definitely do. That's how we like survive, because good things are good and good things happen when things are good. So yes, we do have common denominators, and people are pretty good. So, but if you hate people, then you disagree with that. Do you believe it's possible for humanity to break away from this primitive patterning? So again, all these people are primitive and stupid, except us. We do, and we consider ethics and allow humanity to rise to its noble possibility. Got to throw a noble in there. That's why we position ourselves as activists of humanitarian ethics. We actively seek to advance ethics in the world. But what are ethics? Ethics are a system of moral principles or values. Wow, this thing that already existed, because there's a word for it, and people have been studying it. Oh, is it ancient Roman times? Did they talk about ethics like thousands and thousands of years ago? Because this is a thing that like everyone cares about. Okay. Ethics, according to the American Heritage Dictionary, are the rules or standards governing the conduct of a person or the members of a profession. So humanitarian ethics, in our understanding, is a consistent code of conduct, a consistent system of thinking that advances the welfare of the human race. Yep, and they're the first ones. So we consider that unless a set of consistent and universal principles exists in which all humans can participate, human civilization may not be able to transcend its destructive patterns and achieve a nobler existence. So we all have to like agree on everything and be good. And disagreeing would then be bad. And you're the reason why, if you disagree, you're the reason why we can't have the utopia that we are clearly capable of if we were all just good enough. So centers, I don't know if this one's important. It's probably just talking about their locations. So NXIVMs are prototypes for new civilization. They build them. Each NXIVM. Okay. Okay, let's... NXIVMs are prototypes for a new civilization. The buildings themselves are a manifestation of human history, human potential, and cultural possibility. Each NXIVM, which I'm taking it that each site is its own NXIVM, so NXIVM is the name of these perfect civilizations, will represent elements of all the different parts of human history and the many developments of human culture and awareness. Numerous exhibit rooms within the NXIVMs will depict scientific periods of human civilization. Okay, I don't know what the NXIVM is then. Numerous exhibit rooms within the NXIVMs will depict specific periods of human civilization and the collective struggles and victories. So they're like museums? Those interested in taking part in NXIVM will find different membership options. So each center is its own civilization, and that civilization is called NXIVM. Okay. Members will have access to the social, recreational, fitness, and training facilities housed by each corresponding NXIVM. A wide range of activities, programs, and events will also be offered for members to participate in. We anticipate NXIVMs will be places where all people from all walks of life can come together to experience humanity. Unlike everywhere else. Okay. World ethics. So I guess if you think NXIVMs are little utopias, then that would sound really awesome to you. You can go to a place where there's actual humanity, and it could be like ancient Roman schools, and you can be apart from the rest of the world, which sucks and is awful. Okay, so world ethics. The first step in the evolution of ethics is a sense of solidarity with other human beings. Albert Schweitzer. Okay. Again, might not be wrong, but who is that? I don't know who that is. Okay, so he died in 1965 at the age of 90. For some people, the ideal of a world that is ethical, a world that is consistent, may seem like a far stretch of the imagination. But what we do really stand to lose if we have... Okay. But what we do really stand to lose if we deny ourselves this possibility, even if only in our imaginations. But what do we really stand to lose? Okay. So we can't possibly imagine this world. That is ethical. But we can try, we can imagine. And are you brave enough? Or are you going to ruin everything and be a party pooper? If there cannot be a world ethics, then there will always be one group that considers another to be bad or wrong by comparison. So we all have to be the same. If so, there will continue to be general non-acceptance and intolerance, if not war. So upping the ante. If you disagree, then war will happen, for sure. Everything's like... This is what cults do. They like... It's extreme. Like, you have to do it now, or else your life will be ruined. I also noticed with, like, NXIVM, or at least with Keith, he, like... It's very Star Wars. When his girlfriend broke up with him, he wrote her a letter, and he drew, like, he drew a picture where it's like, this is your life now. If you stay with me, you'll be super great and awesome. But if you dump me, then you will not follow your dreams. And like, his idea of a fate worse than death is being an average person. It's like, you will just die an average person. And then there was another thing where it's like, he was walking with someone, and he was like explaining to them why they should what is your vision of hell? Something like that. And like the answer is meeting the person you could have been, right? That's the vision of hell. So it's not even like the fate worse than death isn't being like an awful, like a serial killer or just like a terrible person. It's like being an average person. That's the worst thing you could possibly be. Like that's what Keith Raniere will threaten. Like if you don't join this cult, if you break up with me, then you won't be like this. I don't know. So again, it just seems like it hates people. Like you really have to hate people to be like, oh my god, I don't want to be the average person. The average person sucks. Like I'd rather die than be the average person. So world ethics can be described as a sense of consistency and integrity throughout the world. It is the intellectual and experiential discovery of the principles that all humans can act under to create a growing and prospering world community. And again, the idea that you will be like one of the first people, you're like history in making. That was like another big thing. You will be like in the history books as part of the first group of people to bring about world utopia. And how can you pass that up? You know, how can you deny this opportunity? Like generations will come, like generations from now will look back on you and be like, wow, the world, everyone sucked before you, and then you made everything good. Thank you so much. It's just weird that nobody before you ever thought to do the things that you're doing, even though, you know, wow, thank you so much. However, we cannot bring a world like this into fruition without first truly understanding the nature of what it is to be human, which perhaps, up to this point, has not been fully understood. Take, for example, the choice of doing what you know versus what you feel like doing. Okay, that's not... Okay. Often, this simple aspect of human behavior is cast in such a light that the conflict of the mind and the body are seen as a conflict between good and evil. This perspective can make it seem as if this ongoing struggle can never be resolved. Okay, I honestly, God, did not understand any of that. I'm going to have to go over it again. The choice of doing what you know versus what you feel like doing. I feel like that's not the right... This is not a complete sentence for what they're trying to say. I guess for them it's not important to make sense. I guess like... Because you're probably primed by either someone who's already in it or by module or whatever. Like, you're primed to think that, like, they have all the answers. So if something's, like, vague and confusing, you just probably just fill in the blanks. It's like, oh, you probably make it make sense for yourself. Or you probably just figure, oh, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me because I'm not, like, a super ethical genius like Keith Raniere. But it must make sense because he's like a super ethical genius. So, of course it wouldn't make sense to me. Yeah, so like, one day I'll get it, but, like, I'm just not there yet. And that's why the world is bad, because I'm not there yet, you know. But I'm still better than other people, but, I'm gonna transcend my inferior human ways. Of course, they're framing it as being, like, the only humans to ever exist. So, like, they're saying we're the only, like, people who know how to human right. We understand humanity and everyone else got it wrong. So it's not really... They're, like, saying people suck, but they're saying they suck because they're not good at being human, I guess. So it's not that humans are bad, it's that everyone is bad at being human. Except them. Okay. So Sigmund Freud, again, another dead guy, who apparently had the answers but didn't, once wrote, "Anatomy is destiny." Herein lies the question. Is our body the master of our mind, or is the mind the master of our body? If our bodies are the master of our minds, then ultimately we are bound to the fearful and indulgent aspects of our existence. In a sense, we would be little different than other animals. So, fear happens in your... Okay, again, I don't want to get into how it's stupid and wrong, because, of course, it's stupid and wrong. Okay, so we're just gonna... What, as a person reading this who wants to join this awesome civilization, Why does this appeal to me? So I guess the takeaway here is you can be a master of these fear, which I guess is animalistic. I mean, and therefore bad, I guess. We'd be a little different from other animals. So we want to get rid of this thing. Yes, I want to get rid of that thing because I don't want to be like an animal. I guess is the appeal of that. Is it possible then that we can utilize our minds to transcend the chains to the body so that the mind becomes the true master? So here again, misanthropic, and this is where I think cults get people, is that it gets you to disown parts of yourself that are normal and natural. So you want to disown these instincts that we have. Yeah, so better not feel hungry or go to the potty or else. Yeah, so that's actually what they think. So Keith Raniere, his big thing was, it wasn't his big thing. I shouldn't say that. And it's not even like original to NXIVM. It's like every single cult is the same idea of like, you can't sleep. You're wasting time sleeping. Sleeping is what inferior beings do. If you want to be a superior being, then you don't do stupid things like sleep. You don't do stupid things like eat, right? That's why the world sucks, is because people spend so much time eating and sleeping. And, that's why there are wars, because people have not mastered these primitive things called bodies. But you can. You don't need these stupid things. Animals have bodies. Yeah, so, of course, if you're a cult leader, you want people to not sleep or eat because then they don't have energy to think and disagree with you. So, from a cult leader perspective, it's very practical to be like, anything that impairs someone's judgment. That's why a lot of cults do drugs, like give people drugs, because you can't think, don't sleep, don't eat, like, then you don't have brain power. And all these things are inferior things, so why would you want to do them anyways? Unless you want to be an average person, like, the average person eats and sleeps, and they're losers, so don't do that. So we want to master, yes, I do want to master my body so that my mind becomes the true master. Bodies are so lame. So if so, we could forge a noble existence, we're noble, and create a society that is civilized both internally and externally. Then, and only then, could we advance the culture of the world and have a world ethics. So the key to world ethics is to transcend the chains of the body. Okay, got it. Never before has mankind had the procedural understanding or the tools to make the triumph of mind over the body possible. At least not until now. See? First ones to ever, not like monks or stoics or not these things that you're referencing up here and here. Those people never existed. So NXIVM represents a possibility for this victory. So the question isn't whether the world ethics is possible or not, but rather, is the human race up to the challenge? Or are you a pussy? So, first here, you couldn't possibly imagine it. And now we have the victorious answer. Of course you can do it, dummy. But are you up to it, or are you chicken? So same thing with the first module. Like, if you think this is bullshit and you don't agree with it, it's because you are a primal animal, and you're unimaginative and a coward. So, I don't know. At World Ethical Foundation Consortium. I think it just sounds fancy, right? That's the only reason why you would have that there. is a highly directed initiative promoting. It's a consortium. It's an initiative. What's a consortium? It's not a real word. An agreement, combination, or group formed to undertake an enterprise beyond the resources of any one member. Okay. Promoting the understanding and application of compassionate ethics in the world community. Our distinguished members demonstrate a high degree of ethics and commitment to humanity, compassion, ethics, and expertise. Wow, I'd really like to be in this consortium, because I would be an individual demonstrating a high degree of ethics and commitment to humanity, compassion, ethics, and expertise in at least one community branch. Wow, that sounds really impressive. We provide these individuals with a unique ethical tool set, enabling each to resolve ethical questions. Wow, that's a lot of ethics. And achieve a deeper understanding of the nature of compassionate ethics. Wow, that sounds so fun. The World Ethical Foundation Consortium will be hosting His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's first visit to Albany, New York. That sounds, wow. The Dalai Lama's in it. Apparently he didn't make the world a better place, so I don't know why this is impressive. He's probably one of those average losers, but yes. Ethical Humanitarian Foundation. The mission of the Ethical Humanitarian Foundation is to support endeavors that help us embrace our humanities, build our ethics, and move us towards a more noble civilization. Wow. It doesn't not sound great. I don't know what it is, but okay, we're moving on to humanity. Oh, okay, so Keith Raniere wrote this one. Humanity and Exploration. Is it long? Okay, no, okay. How do we know what it is to be human? This is like the guy. The guy wrote this. I don't know who wrote the other ones, but Keith Raniere wrote this one. So it's going to be impressive. He's very smart. He's very good at what he does. Very good. So such an exploration requires we not only know ourselves, but also know that which we have in common with others. If we fail to interact with others, we cannot know what it is to be human and thus experience our humanity. The experience of our commonality, our connection, the fundamental qualities inherent in all people, is a lifetime journey that culminates in wisdom and the recognition of the humane or the best qualities of being human. How do we know what it is to be a human? Well, the way to know is to know other people too. We find our commonalities, and it takes your whole life. Okay. And I just have to like translate it in my head to see if it is actually saying anything, and I don't think it is. In our ever-evolving technology, life has become complex while remaining seemingly simple. For instance, to eat, we no longer simply grow our own food, because that's just so simple. This once straightforward process has been replaced by a highly complex, interdependent, multifunctional series of relationships between humans and technology, giving way to our ability to order in. When we order in, a prepared, pre-grown, anonymously organized meal appears at our door. Anonymous is the key. Okay, so because we order food sometimes, we don't know what it is to be a human. But if we grew our own food, we probably wouldn't interact with people anyways. We'd be on the farm all day. We'd probably spend a lot of hours on the farm every day growing our own food. And probably wouldn't have a lot of time to interact with a whole lot of people. But again, don't need to get into why it's stupid and wrong. All I have to do is think, okay, yes, society is bad. People are not connected. I agree with this. I order food. People are not connected. That's why the world is bad. And that's why nobody knows what what humans are, because I don't know. We'll get there. I think we'll get there. We stand the risk of forgetting the fundamental relationship between ourselves and our world, of trading our humanity for mere modern convenience. We as human beings seem to have a propensity to forget about each other due to lack of exposure. That's right, everyone is a jerk except for me. That's true. Everyone is uncaring because we order food. In our current world, we are given the sadly fatal opportunity to view each other as objects. And that, okay. So if the problem with the world is that we advance to the point that we're not connected, then why didn't people in the past just have this ethical world? And then why didn't they just get it right back then? Okay. On our roadways, maybe they'll answer that. On our roadways, we forget our humanity and see others not as human, but as drivers. Simple objects to be avoided, overcome, or punished at will. This is more commonly known as road rage. It's true, road rage didn't exist before cars. He's so right. Imagine if we behaved towards each other in interpersonal situations as we do on our roads. What? Okay. The necessity of human interaction. I mean, he's just so smart. I'm just too stupid to get it. He's a super awesome genius. So whatever, he's obviously makes sense, and I'm obviously too stupid to understand what he's saying. The necessity of human interaction has been gradually minimized by our sophistication. If we follow this trend without experiencing one another, we lose our humanity and lose vital experience of ourselves through others. It is well known that we can more easily punish strangers than acquaintances, and that it is easier to still punish unknown, objectified persons, such as the driver, than even strangers. We live in a world where a group of people witnessed a woman be murdered in broad daylight and did nothing. A world where it is estimated the average child sets eyes on over 10,000 killings in the media by the time they are 18. In so-called preparation for the real world. This is unacceptable. Well, okay. If you lived in medieval times, and you were alive during the Black Death, then you would see 2/3 of your town die, right? We feel we can change a world that desperately needs changing. With our humanity in the balance, our mission is to spread know-how and similar notions throughout the world. Okay. Because the most profound ideas are first met with ridicule. Okay, so I'm ridiculing it because it's so profound. It's me, I'm the problem. Yeah, I see this. I forget what it was, but there was, in grad school, this guy showed me a book, and he's like, it changed your life, and the first chapter was like, basically like, I'm gonna say some ideas, they're so awesome that they're so profound that you're gonna think that they're stupid, but that's because you're stupid. And like, that was the whole first chapter. It's like, I don't need to read anymore. Like this is called priming. This is, yeah, it sounds stupid, but that's you being a jerk. That's not my ideas are stupid. That's you. That's you being closed-minded and bad and stupid. So that lowers your defenses. Oh, I don't want to be a stupid jerk. Oh, I want these profound ideas because I want to in on this. I want in on the action of being like the only people to figure out how to be human, right? And then opposition before acceptance. Okay, let me start again because the most profound ideas are first met with ridicule and then opposition before acceptance. We recognize that there are those who, because of their envy and other fear-based emotions, will attempt to stop us. So if you try to stop them, you're living in fear and you're jealous. It is our belief that with resolve, humanity will prevail. Okay, and you want humanity to fail too. Please join us in re-experiencing humanity. Yeah, so it's like, it's a maneuver. Like, how do you maneuver around that maneuver? Like, actually, no, I'm not just ridiculing you because, or like, yeah, maybe I am an asshole, but you're also stupid. That could work, right? Yeah, I do have envy and other fear-based emotions, but what you're saying is also stupid. So, take that. Please join us in re-experiencing humanity. Again, re-experiencing. I thought this was like the first time you're doing something that's never been done before. What do you mean? If all we need to do is do what people did in the past, then there's no new understanding, right? Like, you're not coming up with anything new. Yeah. It all comes together, doesn't it? Just the same thing in different forms. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. John Adams, who's been dead for a while. But he's smart. He was a smart guy, right? So do you know, I'll save it for another day. Salutations. Is this, maybe I won't do all of these. So we did mission, vision, centers, world ethics. How long is it? Salutations with an exclamation point. Maybe this will be the last one for today. Because I don't... Okay, we'll finish this one up. And then maybe do the rest later. Salutations! Exclamation. See, he's so corny and awkward. The word salutations, the exclamation point. Like, does this seem like a really charismatic... He seems, you know... He seems like creepy. Doesn't he seem like creepy and a dweeb? That's the perfect word for it. Who says salutations with an exclamation point? Dweebs do. That's right. I'm feeling really good about my own reading these. I've been involved in the computer industry most of my life. Oh, so he's a computer smart guy. Okay. I even hold a few internet-based patents, with a few more on the way. My experience has varied from programming to analysis to project management to design. I wonder how true that is. I've even gotten my fingers dirty breadboarding. That is, constructing circuits from components to test properties and create on-the-fly patchwork devices. No one cares. No one cares. When I think of writing a mere article to express the vastness of web technology, I feel like the grammar is missing. When I think of writing a mere article to express the vastness of web technology, I am faced with my inadequacies as a writer, my overcomplicating nature as a true-spirited techno-academic, case in point, and my very real limitations of time and space. So he's too smart to write good. He's just too smart to write good. He has too many smart thoughts going at once. He can't possibly write anything coherent. So if it doesn't make sense, it's because he's too smart. Just remember that. So during times of intellectual intensity, I find it best to step back and deal with first principles. More vital than specifics of web technology is its use, its purpose. What is most important about the web is not the web itself. It is humanity and its use for the web. I decided to find a copy of a very elementary yet historical important book predating the web as we know it, which speaks of a similar web in a fictional sense. At times we can trace the roots of our human thinking to fiction. After all, any ideology or thoughts of a better world are just fiction until they are actualized. That was a lot. Okay, so going back to First Principles. First Principles is a book that predates the web. It's fictional, and fiction can become reality. Okay, that was hard to follow. Okay, I went to my library and examined my shelves. I think I must have retired this book long ago. He's getting poetic. Climbing to my attic, looking through boxes upon boxes of books, still revealed nothing. That's good. It's a little storytelling in here. I was finally fortunate to be able to purchase a version of this text from the local bookstore. I tried to use the web, but I could not get this book fast enough, and it was certainly not online. So I think that's supposed to be like ironic and clever, right? So I guess this is why it can't be Keith Raniere. This cannot be why people join this cult. There's just no way. I just don't believe it. Okay, this book is truly refreshing, written in a more old-fashioned, less technological sense. A style I might dare to call poetic. I think poetry is very important in matters of how technology relates to humanity. We don't need that. But it sounds smart, doesn't it? It must be, because he's smart. He knows computers. In present-day literature, we have lost almost all poetry and aesthetic style when we write about technology and things like the webs. Okay, so he's merging technology with a little art. Some of the older books appear to be more philosophical and general compared to the modern-day laser-like precision of content. So we need to pretty it up just a little bit. So with so much knowledge necessary to be a fledgling professional, there's little time to expound upon material beyond terse summaries. So he did a lot of explaining about how he's going to explain it. Okay, here are just a few examples of extracts from my old-fashioned text. When the words appeared, everyone said they were a miracle, but nobody pointed out that the web itself is a miracle. Quote 1. People believe almost anything they see in print. Quote 2. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little while, we die. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift up my life a trifle. Heaven knows anyone's life can stand a little of that. Quote 3. Let's see. Okay. So the web itself is a miracle. People will believe anything they see. By helping others, we help ourselves. This sort of commentary or content is highly unusual in a modern technological setting. Why? So it's like, you don't want to be mystical, but you want to see miracles and have imagination. Okay. So on one hand, they're telling you okay, we'll just keep trucking. So this sort of commentary or content is highly unusual. I turned to the front of this text and, full of memories, feelings, and anticipation, read the very first paragraphs. "Where's Papa going with that axe?" said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast. "Out to the hog house," replied Mrs. Arable. "Some pigs were born last night." "I don't see why he needs an axe," continued Fern, who was only 8. "Well," said her mother, "one of the pigs is a runt. It's very small and weak, and will never amount to anything. So your father decided to do away with it." "Do away with it?" shrieked Fern. "You mean kill it, just because it's smaller than the others?" Some pig, Charlotte's first message. It's about a spider web. As may be evident to some readers, the book to which I refer is Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, a children's book. It can't be Keith Raniere. It can't. In English, the word web, used in the vernacular of technology, is the same word used to describe the silky structure woven by a spider. It is. It's the same word. I can't. So you have to be primed. Because if you weren't told that this guy was like a super genius and you read this, what would you think? But if you want to believe that he holds the key to utopia at last, you read this and you think, wow, that is the same word. I don't know. He's so right and smart. That's the same word. But, and it's a children's book. So that makes it so much more profound. These first paragraphs begin a wonderful tale of salvation, friendship, and dedication, and humanity, represented through animals. A laser-like summary of the story could be, Wilbur is a pig born a runt. He is saved from extermination, then nurtured through the loving hands of a child, Fern. Later, he is spared from execution by creative weaving of a spider named Charlotte, a true friend. I'm so lost. Most importantly to this writing, Charlotte's Web is poetically, as a metaphor for a web, as a structure for ideological foundational messages. I strongly suggest taking a night to read this tale, or better yet, find a child who has never heard it and read it to them. How did we start this? We started off by saying he builds computers, so he's very smart. When we think about the web, we think about what it is to people. Here's a book about a web. It's a wonderful tale of salvation, friendship, dedication, and humanity. Okay, maybe, you know what? Let's give him a chance. Let's finish this. Gotta find this book. Yeah. Yes. It was there all along in Charlotte's Web. Let's take a step back. Yes, please tie it all together for me. The internet has two aspects. It's technology, a tool, and its use. For many people, its use is most relevant, whereas the miracle of its existence, remember quote 1, is relegated to mere potential interest. For many people, its use is most relevant, whereas the miracle of its existence, the fact that it exists, is relegated to mere potential interest. So, I might be interested that it exists. Okay. I do not believe these aspects are really very different. Okay, those were the two aspects. Shit. Okay, I missed it. There are two aspects. One is that you use it, and the other is that it exists. I do not believe these aspects are really very different. No, they're not. They are just different forms created by the same human process. Sometimes this process is used to work on the web, creation of more efficient technology. And sometimes this process is used to work in the web, creation, organization, content using the web as a tool. Help me out. What am I missing? They are not very different. One is you create something, and the other is that you use it. In the case of Charlotte, this is me being stupid. This is not him being stupid. In the case of Charlotte the spider, she worked on her web by building it in a corner of a doorway, and within her web, by using it as a tool to catch bugs and write words. That's so like the internet. And therefore, what was the premise? So he's explaining the web to us. He's explaining it that it exists and that we use it, is what I'm gathering. In the comparison, and it's called Salutations. Hi Keith. In comparisons, we prefer to debug our web and have it remain bug-free, yet we certainly use it to write words. Of course, the most important part of Charlotte's Web and the human internet web is not the web technology or the writing. It is the meaning and effect of what is written. The process itself is just a tool. So it's not very impressive, because you could do that with books. Terrific. Charlotte's second message. Terrific has two basic meanings. Here we go again. Two basic meanings. 1, extremely good, wonderful. 2, causing terror, terrifying. We choose which best applies. I've never heard terrific used in this way, so I'd probably just pick the first one. I didn't even know it could be used for that. Thanks, Keith Raniere. You really are smarter. We stand at the beginnings of the foundations of the rest of human history. All right, yeah, because they're right. That's true. The world didn't really start until NXIVM. Well, no one did it right before NXIVM. So we're at the beginning of the foundations of the rest of human history. The world's going to be so different now. And it is. It's so different since Keith Raniere started this in the 90s. The world is... You did it. How we think about and build this foundation will affect humankind forevermore. This foundation is our data. This foundation is our words. Most importantly, this foundation is the meaning we create by our words. So words are in themselves are just words, but if you give meaning to them, they mean something. That's true. He's got me there. I gotta join now. Why did they hide the modules? How? Show us the modules. I want to join. How would our history books read today if Germany had won World War II? Well, although Hitler would probably be seen as a hero, one might hope there would be enclaves of people who would record the truth. Why is that in quotations? Of course, and why are we talking about Hitler? We were just talking about Charlotte's Web. Of course, if Hitler was so structurally powerful he could eliminate all such enclaves, then the history of the world would be irreversibly changed. A lie with no counter references becomes truth. Okay. As one would hope. Okay. We went from the web to this, to Hitler. And I'm trying to find out why. How did that happen? Because words mean things. Okay. The World Wide Web is an organic extension of human thinking and philosophy. The ethics of using this tool have yet to match the tool's power. Even 10 years ago, the internet was not nearly as worldwide as, and news, ultimately our history, was not nearly as present, global, or effective. The web is so structurally powerful, it could facilitate the substitutions of lies for truth, literally subverting history. Currently, this potential result depends largely on the net informational effect of our media-minded culture. How much do people believe of what they read? Remember quote 2? It's all tying together, that's for sure. Charlotte carefully thought and picked the message she was to write in the web. She knew such a message could determine the life or death of Wilbur the pig. Whoa. She knew people would believe what she wrote. What? A similar process of creating and propagating such messages is the issue of our time. How is this unique to the a short time ago, much of what was news remained local. Data enclaves, on one hand, preserved humanity's ability to ultimately find the truth through independent accounts of data later become history. But we want everyone to be the same and not disagree, I thought. Okay, on the other hand, they limited potentially important data from affecting the rest of the world. Okay, the globally unifying effect of the web on one hand propagates data worldwide and facilitates tremendous synergy. On the other hand, it distorts the data and may destroy all possibility of independent data verification by creating co-effects between data sources and tainting isolated independence. So again, we see that when we first started off, it was everything's either great and wonderful, and then everyone messes it up. So this, I guess, this is just another way of saying that. Either we do everything right and good, or everything will be destroyed and awful. So it's because of the web. Okay, I think I'm getting it. Because the web is a thing now, it's bringing mankind forth. We're advancing so much because of the web, but it could also kill us all. Yeah, that fits. We got there. Okay. Radiant, Charlotte's third message. Oh my god, how much more? Okay, we're almost done. Here are two definitions of radiant. Oh my god. 1, joyful, hopeful. 2, a point or object from which rays proceed. We choose which best applies. Okay. Okay, the global communication network connects humans in almost uncountable combinations, facilitates a world society and culture, and ultimately unites humanity. So the web, ordering in makes us less connected. The web makes us more connected, unless it doesn't. In the brightest of futures, we uphold our responsibilities to each other and future generations through the ethical use of this resource. The effects of our lives will emanate from now until the end of human time, upholding noble values. Yes. Upholding noble values, recording light readable as words and pictures. Readable as words and pictures, okay. Sadly, there's a potential of global communication networks where truth is changed irreversibly through disproportionate representation. Disproportionate representation is the ignoble use of power to overcome truth, where loudness is a value superior to validity. Okay, validity. In effect, the killing, this grammar, in effect, killing of a less politically powerful truth by a falsehood. Remember quote 4. I don't remember quote 4. Do away with it. You mean kill it just because it's smaller than the others? Okay. In either case, okay, so people bad, people who like truth are just so small in number that evil people will destroy us all with the internet. I think I'm getting that right. I think I get it. Okay. In either case, our present is a point from which rays of information proceed. Oh, that's why I said radiant. Okay. Everything we write on the internet, no matter how small, has global effects, and those effects will propagate for the rest of human history. Again, we're so important. If you write something on the internet, it'll impact the rest of human history. If you write the wrong thing, you will destroy all of mankind. Those who, will those effects be rays of joy and hope, and our power-driven falsehood voiced as, and ultimately becoming reality? Well, then what's the problem? We are now initiating the future legacy of humanity. Okay, so this is the real message. This is all what this is building up to. It's a bunch of gobbledygook until you get to this point, which is if you're reading this and you Yes, I want to be part of the future legacy of humanity. I don't know what any of this meant, but I don't care because I like this part. And because I like this part, all of this made sense. I agree with all of it. If we are not loyal to reality, if we do not approach this task with noble joy, no amount of compensation will rectify our effects. And what's keeping us from being loyal to reality? It's our stupid bodies and envy and fear. So we gotta get rid of those things. Will we be willing to uphold the heroic image of Charlotte, who was a spider, a fictional spider, but it doesn't matter. Because fiction, if you don't believe in fiction, that means you don't believe in utopia. Who purposely kept a faith and upheld honor. Wilbur, then write this in your webs when you learn. This hallowed doorway was once the home of Charlotte. She was brilliant, beautiful, and loyal till the end. Her memory will be treasured forever. Charlotte's daughters. Oh, that will take us a lifetime. Wilbur, a lifetime. That's what we have. I can't believe this is for real. Humble. Okay, fuck. It's gonna destroy the world. Don't write farts. You'll kill us all. It's very important that you don't write that word. Humble. Charlotte's final message. Thank God. If you think about it, it is quite a responsibility. Write a little something on the internet, and it will become a part of human recorded history forever. If one considers global human history as starting just a few years ago, we do find ourselves positioning the bottommost cornerstones on which the rest of humanity will be built forever. Okay, if you do that, I don't know why you would do that, but you could. How carefully should we place such cornerstones? How carefully should Charlotte consider what she writes in her web? How carefully should we consider what we write in our web? Oh, do you think we currently live up to this challenge? No, I don't. I think we're all stupid and bad. You're right. If humanity is to grow beyond being a savage, here it is. He's just saying it out loud. Okay, if humanity is to grow beyond being a savage, arrogant jungle. See, they know compassion. These people, they get compassion. And they can change the world from how compassionate they are. They see everyone else as savage, arrogant jungle dwellers. But they're better than us. We as members must think, must care, must love. Unlike those other people who don't think or care or love. We must be willing to help each other, thereby lifting ourselves up just a trifle. Remember quote 3? Oh my God, he's so clever. See, when you tie things from other things, that makes it smart. When you're able to do that, when you can take words and then this word has one meaning, this word has another meaning too, and you tie that in, that's profound. Wilbur condemns Charlotte's children granted. Yes. Yes. We need to look forward. If Charlotte was so great, then why didn't she change the world? She just died. Everyone dies. That's not impressive. What made Wilbur so great? Maybe he should have died. Explain. Okay, so when we write anything to the foundation of human history, we must view it as type of responsibility entrusted to us by 1,000 future generations, right? They will be so grateful to us, the special ones who figured it out. And you have to be very careful. You cannot say or do the wrong thing even a little. We have to get it absolutely right. So don't you go off script and start saying your own things because, man, you can ruin the world forever. Our messages will persist with their effects long after we are gone. This is the money shot right here. Yes, I want to be this person who the world remembers long after I am dead. I want to be Charlotte, and everyone just looks back and remembers how great I was and how I was brilliant and beautiful. Yes, please. Global data and communication has elevated the position of writer to one of humanity's highest, most sacred offices. What? Okay. I can only hope each of us, in our capacity as Charlotte, approaches this work as humanity's friend. Not everyone can have... This can't be true for everyone who writes on the internet, right? Approaches this work as humanity friends. Friends to these savage, arrogant jungle dwellers. Because they need us. They need us to be better than them. And we will show them. Narrator. Wilbur never forgot Charlotte. Although he loved her children and grandchildren dearly, none of the new spiders quite took her place in his heart. Why would you add? She was in a class by herself. It's not often that someone comes along who's a true friend and good writer. Charlotte was both. Why would you include that? I thought everyone will be better. So we're better than people in the future, too. Oh. That's just a bonus. That's right, because they're just copying us. We're the ones that figured it out. And they just copied us. So because they didn't come up with it, they're not as impressive as we are. We will always be the ones who are better people in the past and people in the future, because we are the ones that, we did it. We are the great ones. We changed everything. They're just coasting on our accomplishments. That's so easy. They just have to do what we... that's so easy. Wow. Salutations. Thank you, Keith Raniere. Okay, I guess we'll end on salutations, because that was a lot. That hurt me. So, I must rest. Good night.